This is a Devineau Biophone, or more precisely, a Devineau Biophone attachment mounted to an Edison Model B standard phonograph. The Devineau attachment was designed to play discs on any cylinder phonograph. It was invented in 1906 by Louis Devineau of Cleveland, Ohio, patented late that year, and marketed only briefly in 1907. The only surviving advertising for the Devineau Biophone shows it with an Edison standard, and in this particular instance a flowered horn, which made it appropriate to set it up that way. The Biophone attachment consists of several individual parts, starting with a bracket which attaches to the rear of the phonograph, and then a cast iron bracket with a flexible spoked wheel that has leather padding on the bottom for friction. And this piece fits on the bracket and supports the turntable, which is cast and has large ball ends for centrifugal force to create something of a flywheel. There's also a bracket that attaches to the reproducer with a tone arm. That's made of cast aluminum, so it's lightweight. And obviously a reproducer, which is marked Devineau Biophone in the casting. The diaphragm is fiber, held in with wax. Rather crude, but gives surprisingly good sound. And a key component, which Devineau referred to as a tire, just a piece of steel with a rubber coating that fits on the mandrel and provides a little friction when it is used in conjunction with the leather on the turntable drive. Devineau made some rather fanciful claims for his attachment, calling it a clever device which can be attached in a minute to any Edison phonograph and make it a disc-playing machine. It makes two machines into one and is the sensation of the day. That little bit of hype might be excused, but the claim that the attachment can be connected and removed in a few seconds is patently absurd. Also claims that there's no need to remove the attachment while playing a cylinder record. Well, that's obviously not true. And lastly, he claims that three 12-inch disc records can be played on one winding of an Edison standard. It's barely capable of playing one record on a winding, so the attachment was somewhat less than originally advertised. Despite advertising claims for great simplicity, this is actually a very difficult machine to adjust. Slightest variation in adjustments will cause it to stop altogether. You can spend literally hours trying to get it to work at all. It takes a little time for the centrifugal force to kick in with the turntable balls to get the disc spinning. And as soon as you put the tone arm down, the weight really adds drag. It's very easy to understand why the Biophone was a colossal failure in the market. The price was $15. For $12 you could buy a complete Victor Jr. talking machine which would play discs infinitely better with no problems. It was totally dedicated just to playing discs. For $15, the same price as the Biophone, you could buy a Graphophone AK. Or for $17.50 you could buy a Victor Zero, which was even superior. So there was no economic incentive really to have this, and I can imagine customers watching a dealer trying to get this adjusted and show off its great capabilities and walking out in disgust, or worse, buying one and then having to return it the next day because they couldn't get it to work. It certainly didn't live up to the advertising claims. This is the only Biophone currently known to survive. However, there was a Biophone rather prominently shown in the movie My Fair Lady in 1964, and here are a couple of short clips that show it fairly prominently.
Miss Doolittle, you look beautiful. And damn my own folly for having lavished my hard-earned knowledge and the treasure of my regard and intimacy on a heartless guttersnipe.
The Biophone attachment in the movie is attached to a different machine. It's on an Edison Home or possibly an Edison Triumph, and it's mounted from the rear with a small horn pointing backwards. So it's not the same machine as you see here, but the attachment is clearly a Biophone. It's not known whether this particular attachment is the same one used in the movie or not. It's certainly possible. This attachment was found in Southern California. But it's also possible that there's a Biophone attachment lurking in a prop department in the back of Warner Brothers. However, it is clear that at this point this is the only reported example in existence today.